Hey guys, what's going on? It's Roth and Jim here to talk one of your favorite characters.
Doctor Strange, Dr. Stephen Strange, huh?
Yeah, the movie finally has a director.
It's Scott Derrickson. He has already tweeted out a photo of him holding up a comic book of Doctor Strange saying, "My next movie will be Strange," wink, wink. And Variety has reported it. And
he was rumored for a while.
He was rumored, and he's been dodging it. You talked to him at WonderCon.
I did.
He dodged those questions. He really wanted the gig, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of what the takeaway when I talked to him. I did probe for information, of course. And he said, the only thing that I'll say is that this is absolutely my favorite character, my favorite Marvel character. Yeah. And then I probed a little more, and he said, seriously, I'm only going to say that. And I said, okay, fine. And we moved on. But I thought it was a smart move. You're not going to talk to a reporter when you are basically applying for a job.
Or the biggest job of your career, too. I mean, just to familiarize you guys with his background, his filmography includes Sinister, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Hellraiser Inferno, his first movie, I believe, and then he did the remake of Day of the Earth Stood Still. And he has Deliver Us from Evil coming up. And he's also attached to the Deus Ex movie.
Yeah. Well, he had that one in development, and we did talk about that a little bit, and he said it was still in development. Obviously now
Clearly,
that
Dr.
will have
Strange
gone...
is the front burner.
That will have gone to the back burner.
I think, though, the hiring of somebody like Derrickson, whose films are, for the most part, straight horror films. They're not known for being jokey horror. They're played pretty straight. Indicates that Marvel is embracing the darker, kind of scarier aspects of the lore of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice, and we had talked about this previously in podcasts about the different sort of directors that he had that Kevin Feige said that he was meeting with, and that this one would really mean you liked him a lot for this.
Yeah, I thought it was good because I want to see a Doctor Strange movie that, yeah, you can have some levity in there and a little fun with it. I mean, and I understand the overall tone of the Marvel Universe, but I do feel like Doctor Strange, if you're going to deal with demons and other realms and really make it offer something new for the movie-going audience and show the sort of the scope of the Marvel Universe, you have to kind of play it straight enough and scary enough to show literally all the devils that are at bay here, and the one kind of guy that can keep it all in check.
And that's what he's done in, I think, his most successful films, which are, well, we're hearing really good things about Deliver Us from Evil. That's got some great buzz, and I imagine somebody at Marvel has seen it, if not a lot of people at Marvel have seen it before this deal was in place. But also, I happen to love The Exorcism of Emily Rose. He was able to take a story that is based on a true story that is... you say that loosely. I think it's only like 10% that it has to be based on a true story. But still, really ground it. It was scary.
And he's always, he's got a knack at casting good actors in movies that you would think, just looking at, say, the log line of them, would seem like very cheesy B movies. But each of his films, he has assembled a good cast. And I think that really bodes well for something like Doctor Strange.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we have nothing to go on, just speculation in terms of casting. They did say that they're going to make a casting decision in the coming months. So clearly this is a Phase 3 movie, probably one of the 2016 films.
Yeah, I think it's one of the ones that have those that have not been named yet.
I think my hunch is that expect somebody like an Ethan Hawke to be Doctor Strange. Expect somebody that he's probably worked with before who has some sort of cachet there. Another reason why I think the choice of Derrickson to direct Doctor Strange is interesting is that he has done mostly horror movies on a mid-level budget.
Or low.
Yeah, and I do
micro,
wonder...
in the case of Sinister's Blumhouse, it's micro
Yeah,
budget.
I mean, I do wonder do you think this is maybe Marvel's attempt at sort of trying to scale down what a movie like Doctor Strange will cost?
I did, it's funny because I really did, well, they operate under a very tight budget for what they do.
Yeah.
For what they do. But yeah, I did wonder about that a little bit because he certainly has worked with a bigger budget on The Day the Earth Stood Still, which is his least successful film. So it's an interesting choice.
The one
because
the most out of his wheelhouse, too.
The most out of his wheelhouse and the least successful. But I think that where it worked to his advantage is that it demonstrated the fact that he can work within those sort of in that financial realm, and then he can work with effects. The effects in the movie, as I recall, I haven't seen it in quite a while, were fine. So I wonder if it's not more about the tone, because they're going to be pulling a lot of those strings in terms of managing the money, and there's going to be a lot of cooks in the kitchen, as I'm sure there are in every Marvel film. But I wonder if it's not more about the tone, because he really can ground the idea of demons and the supernatural. You know,
he does find these human elements in these otherwise kind of what could just be very B-grade horror movies.
Yeah.
You know, I mean...
and he gets great performances. Jennifer Carpenter was remarkably good. Laura Linney was great in Emily Rose.
I mean, so I do think we're looking at a Doctor Strange movie that, if anything, will be a very interesting experiment on behalf of Marvel. The show exhibits some range in the types of movies that they can make.
I'm going to advocate for someone you mentioned really quickly, John Hamm.
John Hamm for Doctor Strange?
Yeah, you
mentioned I did
him.
Because he worked with him on Day of the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of the other people he has coming up, like in Deliver Us from Evil, whether it's Edgar Ramirez, maybe Joel McHale.
They're very good friends. I mean, at the end of the day...
he's actually like besties with Scott Derrickson.
Yeah. I mean,
people don't realize that, but
You know, those relationships will certainly play a role, but I'm sure it's going to be a committee that decides who this actor is. But I like when you said John Hamm, I thought, like, I really can see that. I really like that idea a lot.
You need somebody who's going to be able to play the arrogant surgeon, be believable in a getup like that, saying the hocus pocus lines. That's why I do feel like maybe if it's not somebody like a John Hamm, maybe it'll be somebody like Edgar Ramirez or Ethan Hawke. But we'll see. I mean, it could be a complete out of left field thing. Maybe they will go for Johnny Depp. I don't know. But if anything, I think it's an exciting prospect here for Doctor Strange. Now all we need is that Ant-Man director.
Who's going to direct Ant-Man? Up for grabs.
I don't know. That's another conversation for another time. But I'm going to steal your closing line and say, hey, keep it locked here at IGN for more on Doctor Strange.